time.
You skipped just a tad.
Was I early? Was I
just a hair?
Okay. It's caucus time.
It's caucus time. New room. We're in a new place. We are doing new things, and we've basically we were no one chased us away from the front library, but we've kind of absconded with that room long enough and left a bunch of stuff set up. We set up our own little studio in here, so we've moved into a different room.
Also a library.
Also a library. As you may or may not have noticed, basically we've got the entire building is a library.
People show up asking if this is a public library.
We are. The Phyllis Schlafly Center here in the middle of Clayton does sometimes get listed as some sort of library because we have the Rosalind Cress Haley Library upstairs and a couple others, and we have to explain to people, no, we don't have computers. I'm sorry, we can't print stuff off for you. It's not that. It's like a research library. It's private. Oh, okay.
Well, do you know what the threshold for being considered a library is?
What?
It's 10,000 books plus having some sort of index system for the books. Which, I mean, we have both of those.
We are a library.
So, yep.
We are indeed a library. I'm going to have to keep that. Now that we've got these boom arms, I'm going to have to figure out the coffee thing so I'm not banging into it. We'll figure that out as we go along. But anyway, welcome on in. It's caucus time.
We missed all of you, and we know that you missed us even more than we missed you.
It's been a few weeks. We have definitely taken a little bit of a hiatus, but of course we've been busy. Thank you all for enjoying. I know we've come back once and recapped collegians, but those videos keep getting viewed. We're going to keep putting them out in different capacities, different mediums as those become relevant, because we really did have some very relevant conversations that keep going. So that's exciting. But a few new things. Thank you to our paid subscribers and the folks who make sure and support our sponsors. We've got a couple new pieces of equipment rocking and rolling. We're actually looking forward to doing a few more things. We have a couple of guests on deck, so we're going to be moving into more big interviews. And when I say big, I don't mean like we've got, Donald Trump and J.D. Vance coming on. What I mean is like we're going to have some long-form, really good in-depth interviews and discussions about stuff. We're plotting forward here in a pretty neat way. The rest of 2025 is going to be fun here on Caucus, and we promise to keep it pretty regular, probably every couple of weeks still as we get back into it. But it's been a little while. Let me remind you a couple of things, folks. Thanks for being here. If you're watching Rumble, X, YouTube, we're live across the board there. This, of course, will go out as a podcast later tonight, first thing tomorrow morning, as soon as we're done. And if you want, you go and subscribe to Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcast. Search for Unauthorized Caucus. You'll find our logo. Subscribe there. If you are a podcast listener, give us a little rating and review. That's super helpful. If you're watching anywhere else, share and like the video. Make sure and get it to your folks so they know what kind of conversations you're having as well and listening to, and maybe spark some fun stuff for you. And then, of course, go to unauthorizedcaucus.com. That's where you'll find the subscription. You can get this straight to your email inbox, the notes, links, different things. This one is going to be pretty full-fledged. I think a lot of it is stuff you've heard about. We're going to go into a couple of topics today, though, from the last few weeks that are really worth unpacking a lot bigger. And then, of course, say thank you to our sponsors. As always, go to Phyllis Schlafly Eagles, phyllisschlafly.com. It's not possible without them. It's where we're sitting right now. Also, T-Rex Inc., code CAUCUS30 for a big discount, trexinc.com. And go to Wide Awake Clothing. The link is down in the description. It'll be in the podcast description as well. There's some great stuff at T-Rex and at Wide Awake. Pro-sovereignty, pro-God, family, country. Clothing, mugs, all sorts of stuff. My mug is somewhere around here.
I've got my Trump 2024 shirt. My infant son, my toddler son, loves it.
The sun, like the summer one.
The vaporwave, Miami Trump 2024.
That's its own kind of artwork. I love that stuff. But anyway, go there and support everyone. Thank you to them all for making this possible. Of course, we'll remind you again. But the headline today, the topic, I mean, this is it. Bunker buster bombs on the deep state. I don't know how else to describe, Mason, what we've watched the last few weeks. The two big topics I think we really want to get into are the Epstein files and the Russiagate, or the Russian collusion hoax. I know our old boss, Ed Martin, over at the DOJ now, he always said the Russia hoax. And it felt like that. When I first heard him say that, I thought, okay, this seems like a little bit long of a title, but I realized it really is. It was just, everyone pulling their hair out. Russia. It was behind every rock. Every Trump voter was a Russian bot. And you knew it was fake. We knew it was fake. But now Tulsi Gabbard is declassifying huge document dumps.
It's fake? I have a brain chip that downloads information straight from the Kremlin, and I post it online. I thought we all had these.
Your Putin Neuralink is wrong. No, but it's the amount of documents that are coming out are just flabbergasting and awesome. to finally have all the connections put together. So we're going to get into these too, because you've probably heard and seen the stories. My gosh, though, in the era of social media that we live in, it's almost too, I hate to say it this way. Tell me if you agree, and let's launch off into the Epstein thing. I feel like it is almost too easy to get information. And someone quasi-credible, posts something on X, and boom, we're off to the races on all kinds of speculation and assumptions. Is Trump with us? Trump is burying it. He must be in the files, this, that, and the, and whoa, everyone just pause. Give it another 24, 48 hours for a few more things to come out. And now we have a fuller picture of the story. Mm-hmm. So it's always, at least for me, the last few weeks, it's been good to watch what was said and then just wait. Mm-hmm. I don't know what I think about this yet because there's so much more to come out because we've got one little piece of information. Wait until all these hook together. Mm-hmm. So right after we did our last episode, the Epstein stuff really just went to town.
Yep.
And the bottom line, I mean, is this fair representation to say, we knew that they had already botched the rollout, but it got even worse. And we had all this drama about whether Kash Patel and Dan Bongino were going to quit the FBI. Pam Bondi was the holdup. We're not wanting to release the files. And then all of that just seemed to go away. And Trump kind of came down with the hammer and said, this is a hoax. We're not dealing with this anymore. But his messaging almost looked like he was pushing Epstein to the side, like this is a non-issue, which kind of seems guilty. But all of a sudden, within days, the entirety of the Democratic machine was clamoring, yelling, and screaming for the release of the Epstein files. Mm-hmm. The people who've denied this for years. So immediately you have to ask, was this a play just to get everyone drummed up about this? Oh, you want to release the files?
Yeah.
All right, fine. We'll release the files. And you kind of go, oh, crud. I didn't actually mean to do that. They're just so used to reacting to Trump. What's your take on the drama that supposedly took place? I don't know how much of it is true or not. Everyone's still there. No one quit. Pam Bondi is still there. Kash, Dan Bongino, they're all still there. But now we've got all the Russiagate stuff that's come up. What about the Epstein files, Mason? What do you think?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's so easy to post something on Twitter, like a quick take or something like that, the app is designed to make you go insane. So people can just say, the first thing that pops into their heads. But it's remarkable how many people, after a decade of Trump world, have not realized that what he's saying is not actually what he's saying. Like, you can't take his words at face value. You've never been able to. It's never been that way for Trump. And if you haven't caught on to that yet, like, okay, come on, get with the program. Like, how have you not noticed this yet? And my first reaction was Trump seemed to be bungling the messaging on this so unbelievably badly that I thought, okay, there's got to be something here. Because Trump is the master of the media, probably the best media manipulator in the world, ever, maybe. I mean, ever, like, period.
Yeah, I agree with you completely.
Yeah. So the fact that he was doing so badly at it was very strange to me. Like, okay, there's something else going on here. But it really feels like when that memo dropped right before Collegians, and we did talk about that a bit on Collegians. Some of our wonderful guests talked about it. If you haven't watched that, go back and check it out.
Yeah.
But it dropped right before then, and it seems like that was really the beginning of any actual investigation. Now that, like, with what's come out after that, it brought way more attention to the Epstein story, like you said, with the Democrats looking at it, but also it riled up the base. And Trump doesn't have to worry about re-election unless he's running for a third term. But the people who do have to worry about re-election are the people in Congress. And if the base is getting very upset, like, oh, Republicans are ditching us on this issue that we care about and that we were promised about, Congress now has to worry about that. And now Congress is worrying about that. They are taking moves to start to deal with the situation. And I saw just this morning that Bill and Hillary Clinton are subpoenaed to provide bombshell testimony on Epstein, and there are lots of other people subpoenaed, including Attorney General Bill Barr and Jeff Sessions. But Bill Barr is particularly interesting because Bill Barr's father actually gave Jeffrey Epstein his first ever job as a teacher. A high school teacher, and Jeffrey Epstein was a college dropout at the time with no experience of any kind. But so there's an interesting connection there, and it's not even that long of a line you have to put onto the conspiracy theory corkboard between those two things. It's literally like the family connection right there. But this is really interesting because now Congress is looking into it in a way that they weren't before.
Right.
The memo came out that okay, case closed. We're not going to investigate it anymore. And now the investigation actually starts. And Ghislaine Maxwell has been in talks with the DOJ, and she's going to give testimony to Congress pending her Supreme Court decision.
Yeah, she had a big long meeting with Todd Blanche, Deputy Attorney General, and out of that, I mean, I think her lawyer and the DOJ agreed. She talked about 100 different high-profile people. She didn't hold anything back. She apparently didn't refuse to answer any of his questions. We don't know the content of that, but we do know that she got moved to a more, medium or minimum security prison compound. So that tells me some sort of deal was cut, which I assumed that Hillary was going to suicide her before she had a chance to talk to the DOJ. She did. I can't imagine that there's not just solid gold in whatever she said. And I mean, she's in prison. What, she wants to get out early? Sure.
She wants full immunity.
Right.
Which, I mean, I say if she's going to spill the beans, the serious beans, give it to her.
We have enough other points of contact. I'm not really worried about her trying to give over fake information just to get a good deal. I mean, she's already been prosecuted, convicted, and put in jail. What could happen to her? I mean, it's not that she has nothing to lose. She has everything to gain right now. But also, we have so many other points of contact. I don't really find myself suspicious of the information she gives. I mean, I do inherently, but they're gonna piece all that together.
Right. And so it's starting to make more sense within the broader context of the Epstein story over the course of Trump too, because at the beginning when he first said we're going to declassify these files, we're going to get them out there, a bunch of people started sticking their heads up and throwing a fit about it, especially in the Southern District of New York, and it gave an opportunity for Trump to spot some corrupt people and get them out of there. And then, okay, this memo comes out, and then there's a big backlash. Congress starts to work on it. They're going to be getting testimony from a lot of people, a lot of important people on it.
Well, by the way, here's the full list. James Comer, the House Oversight Committee chairman, which, by the way, if again, a call back to our collegians programming, was it Mike Howell? There were a couple of people, because we're asking, who do you trust and who do you not? Who's just self-serving? And I heard multiple times, I forget which ones were on camera and off camera, I heard multiple times, James Comer, Kentucky House Representative, is good. He would go so much farther. Often, though, if you're not happy with how far the House Oversight Committee has gone, you can pinpoint that blame on the leadership structure around him, not on James Comer, the chairman of the Oversight Committee. He's ready to go, and he's a good one. So, I mean, as far as just trusting who is or isn't, there, well, whether you do or don't trust, that was an interesting piece that I heard that I was excited about.
I'm really hoping that they pull up the painting of Bill Clinton and say, care to comment? Can you explain what's going on right here? So, and there's a couple of other interesting considerations because Trump ordered the unsealing of the grand jury testimony, and that was blocked by a judge. And Maxwell is against that because it could impact her case, I think. But then there's the other thing that the DOJ told Trump that his name was in the files, which I think we need some clarification on what we mean when we're talking about the files, because it's very unlikely that the FBI just has, like, Epstein kept a list of, like, I blackmailed this person by doing this, and just, like, put it in his nightstand, and then after they raided his island, they found it, and they were like, okay, we've got the list. Like, that probably doesn't exist. This is not a cartoon. This is real life. But if there were the Epstein files that released kind of late in the Biden administration, lots of testimony from witnesses. Trump was in those files. Like, he was. You could Command F search for Trump and find witnesses, like witness testimony saying that Trump wasn't around on Epstein's island. I know you've been posting some on X and other places about how Trump actually, like, blocked Epstein from coming to his properties.
Yeah,
a while ago.
I was going to say, and that's the thing. I forget who said this, but the bottom line is, this is not as cut and dry as I think a lot of us, in the MAGA world would like it to be. Like you said, there's no black book where it literally shows transactions of underage victims or something. Like, what this is really, it boils down to a bigger issue. It's really not even the trafficking that bears huge international significance. And don't hear me saying, I'm not trying to, belittle that at all. Not at all. This guy was a terrible scumbag with just nasty proclivities, and he helped a lot of other people with those proclivities, seems like. But the thing is, he's tied into money and not just money laundering, but like arms dealers and fixers and people like that, nationwide. The story of worldwide. The story of Jeffrey Epstein, my goodness, is we're just going to call him Epstein now. Jeffrey Epstein. This is so we don't get, canceled anyway. No, I'm kidding. If you go back and look at his history, like you said, this random math teacher is apparently really good at making books look a certain way and moving money so it's hidden. And someone identified that. Bill Barr, his father, gave him his first job, but then he moved on to all of these powerful people who I'm sure some of them had, terrible personal proclivities. But this is a much bigger story than just Epstein's plane and his island and underage victims.
The trafficking was only a part of it.
Right. That was like what these guys did for fun. And it's terrible, and it's a good way to get them on something. But what we need to unravel is so much
the money
broader
laundering.
than that. It's the money laundering connected to people globally. And again, this is a really, really good, if you want to unpack a lot of that. What was it? Daryl Cooper was on Tucker a few weeks ago and really just started from the beginning. He's done a lot of the research on Epstein, and it's all verifiable. You go look, like he's, I know that Daryl Cooper's had his own people come, rah, Daryl Cooper, but he presented a very good, succinct-ish narrative of Jeffrey Epstein, how he came from nowhere and all of a sudden was just rubbing elbows with some of those powerful people in the world. This is the stuff we need to unravel. And this is where we're not just talking about Bill Clinton, likes younger women. We're now talking about Bill and Hillary Clinton and the Clinton Foundation in Haiti. And now we're into all of the global entanglements that we start getting. You get the curtains pulled back big time when you look at USAID and a bunch of stuff like that. Now that's the world we're in. That's the data that we really need, not just victims lists. And the problem is Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell both were prosecuted on the trafficking stuff, which is really, and again, not to minimize it, but that's kind of small potatoes compared to the amount of information that is still yet to be really uncovered about trafficking, money laundering, arms dealership. And I don't mean human trafficking. I mean the rest of it. That's like the 80% that we don't really have any kind of anything on. There are court records now. They're sealed. Yes, we should unseal those. And I'm sure that there's tie-ins. But the question is, what about all the rest of it? And that really is the big fish to get to. The other one is like I said, I would call it about 20% of the Epstein world. But that's the stuff we all know. That's the stuff that's culturally discussed quite a bit. Epstein being a pedophile and, Epstein Island and the weird art and stuff like that. It's so much bigger than that he's connected to. But those records are locked away in a bunch of other places. That's why I'm excited about this. Here's the full list. James, I started this and I forgot to finish it. James Comer, was it yesterday? Earlier this week, he announced the Oversight Committee was compelling the following individuals to appear for depositions. They were subpoenaed Bill and Hillary Clinton, former FBI Director James Comey, former FBI Director Bob Mueller, who apparently is in a memory care facility somewhere down west. I've seen a couple of reports. I think that's still a question mark, but it wasn't that many years ago that this guy was leading the investigation into the Russiagate, thing. And now he's in a memory care facility. I'm not saying it doesn't decline rapidly, but I have questions. But then the list of attorney generals: Merrick Garland, Bill Barr, Alberto Gonzalez, Jeff Sessions, Loretta Lynch, Eric Holder. They're going all the way back to Obama. Now, I imagine that this is just a lineup of people here from mid-August all the way through October. They're going to come in and plead the fifth. I'd be shocked if they do anything else. But this is not just the Epstein trafficking stuff. This is the money laundering, the investigations into it, the stuff that never, ever came to light. In fact, I looked at one of the other subpoenas here. I've got it in front of me. They subpoenaed the Department of Justice, House Oversight did, and requested all kinds of stuff connected to Jeffrey Epstein. But one of the things they're looking for specifically is all communication relating or referring to Epstein or Maxwell's case from the Biden White House. And they are looking for all of the data and all of the communication around the investigation into Epstein in 2007 that resulted in the non-prosecution agreement between the U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of Florida. That's the one where, and I think, did we ever straighten this out? It's not on record somewhere, but who was that? Was that Alex Costa? I think it was Alex Costa. He went on to be the labor secretary later. But Alex Costa, I think it was, the U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of Florida, said to someone, I don't think it was on record, but he said, I was told to leave it alone because he belongs to intelligence, or something very similar to that. And then we've never talked about that again. It's never been on the record anywhere else. We've all discussed it, but there's never been this record trail. This is why getting communication related to that is so important, because there are little strings that have just not been pulled at. Even though we've been pulling in important ones, the other 80% still sits there untouched. And now Trump had the whole world drummed up into demanding Epstein files release. So the House is going after it. But they're going after so much more than what we've already talked about. They're going after that other 80%. With the names that they've pulled in, attorney generals all the way back to, or attorneys general, excuse me. I always say that one wrong. Attorneys general, all the way back to the Obama era. I think there's big stuff coming on this. And I think a lot of it that shows the Trump folks are pulling the levers and pressing buttons to try to get us to this place, not just pull out the little information we know about and want to know more about. They want to get to the other 80% because they see that's the big kahuna.
Right. Trust the plan. It never fails.
There does always seem to be a plan.
Yep.
And it's typically, like you said, if you live in the world and think that Trump means exactly what he says, we've been shown time and again that's not it. It's he's saying something to get to another place.
Right.
And here we've gotten to another place. But in the meantime, we opened up the world on all this Russiagate stuff. Tulsi Gabbard has had, 2 big documents drops? And pulling this apart is really interesting because these 2 document drops that have come out were big, very huge, and yet there's still more. There's apparently another one coming. The first big one tied Obama and his FBI and the outgoing tail end of the Obama administration. It painted the picture to show exactly how what we now know is falsified information, the Steele dossier and all this stuff with the Russian collusion was subsequently squashed. Or I'm sorry, I should say the real information that there was no real connection between Putin and Trump and any kind of Russian collusion was squashed. And a new intelligence report was put in, and then the Obama White House, the outgoing Obama White House, the FBI, all went with that story, the intelligence community. The second document dump was all about Hillary Clinton, and it tied in how literally the Hillary Clinton campaign basically manufactured the Steele dossier because they're trying to take the heat off of her 33,000 missing emails. So here, we're going to drop this into the campaign cycle about Russian collusion on behalf of Trump and run with it. And then Obama's department, we now see the next piece of the puzzle. They picked that up and carried water for the Clinton campaign. And then they carried it into after Trump won. Well, now we'll use this to destroy him and to hamper everything he does.
Yep.
What I understand is there's another set of documents coming, and there's a great assumption or speculation that it will be tying into the Biden administration years. And a next piece of the puzzle that shows how that continued in the special investigations and all the different things, but it really finds its roots back in the original.
Yeah.
Clinton lied to cover herself up. The Obama administration basically hopped on to carry water for her, and then the Biden administration picked that up on the other side of all of the years of Trump. And somewhere in there, we also find out Russia actually had a lot of nasty dirt on Hillary Clinton, and they almost maybe would have rather had her win because they would have had a lot of leverage over the next U.S. president.
Right.
So the whole Steele dossier, Russian collusion was almost the opposite story. Oh, they had something, and they wanted a candidate to win, quite perhaps, but it would have been Hillary, not Trump, because they had a bunch of dirt on her. But then she lost. So this story, DNI Gabbard, it is not a distraction from the Epstein files. It is an addition to. It's all connected because now we're into another phase of it.
Yep.
What do you think? What are your overviews of the Gabbard, Director of National Intelligence drops? I'm Tulsi Gabbard is now one of my favorite picks because, especially the lady who the Democrat Party tried to destroy is now in charge of all of the information that can destroy all of them, and it's coming out.
Yeah, it's I haven't dove as deep into for a lot of the Trump one, I just kind of ignored the whole Russia collusion story. I heard libtards talk about it, but I didn't really look into it that much, which was the right thing to do because it clearly turned out to all be crap. So I haven't looked into it as much as the Epstein stuff, but I'm excited to see what they're gonna bring out there. This is the Trump administration bringing accountability and showcasing the corruption that has gone on. And let's not forget that these two things are on top of what's already happened with mass layoffs in the bureaucracy, with Trump firing loads of people, as well as defunding USAID. I mean, this is part of a complete assault on the deep state. It's not just, it's not just what politicians typically do, where you would expect them to throw some red meat and then, okay, we fought the deep state a little bit, and now we move on and we do other stuff and we raise taxes, et cetera, et cetera. Like that's not what's going on here. This is a continual assault on the deep state, and we're still just over 6 months into the administration. Like, I'm excited to see if this is the amount that we can expect every 6 months. Then will there be a deep state left? I mean, there probably will be. It's probably impossible to defeat completely, but we are seeing a remarkable amount of work going on here. And also just the irony of it all, that people said that, oh, Trump is a traitor to this country, and they impeached him twice because, like, apparently he was, he was working for Russia, and then, like, they went after him in 2024 because he was trying to undermine our sacred democracy and destroy it, when, like, Obama literally tried to create a coup. Clinton literally tried to create a coup, like treason against this country, directly fabricating, misrepresenting intelligence information to undermine an election first and foremost, and then undermine the sitting president of the United States. Like that's about as bad as it gets. Mm-hmm. And maybe Trump should deliver on his one promise, one of his most famous promises that he's yet to deliver on, that Hillary Clinton should be in jail, because I'm hoping
one of the best presidential debate lines. That's like right under Reagan's, youth and inexperiences. You'd be in jail.
Yeah. I think that takes the cake for number one ever.
It's pretty good,
because you'd be in jail. She should be. She should. Like, the more that comes out about this, that, okay, there was this massive conspiracy to try to prop her up and get her into the presidency, and then they kept on. They did this for Biden. They tried to do it for Harris. Like, they're continuously just trying to cutthroat, get into power by whatever means possible, and it's honestly miraculous that Trump can be winning at all in these situations, but he has, and he is president. So I think that investigations like this are very important, because they will uncover the mechanisms that are used by the left to destroy the country and hold on to power and take control of it. Because once they're revealed, once people can see how they work and they're out in the light, like, you can't keep using them. You can't keep using a secret tunnel if the top of it is now completely transparent, because everybody's going to see you down there. So if we know what they do, like because this is not stuff that can just be set up overnight. Like, the development of the deep state and the bureaucracy has taken decades, going all the way back to, you could say FDR, even before that, during or before World War II, but it's been this progression of slowly adding on bit by bit by bit onto the bureaucracy, which is why it's ballooned up so high. And then you have this just mountain of junk with all these tunnels through it, and there's this entire class that knows the institutions and is adept at the functions of the system to get what they want. If we uncover that, and if we close that off, if we close those things off, which uncovering it is the first step to closing those things off, I think we will see a much more conservative country, just because of the way that Trump is winning despite these challenges.
And this is the next part that I'm really curious about, because that's the thing. Like, you look at this, the crime that has now been laid out from Hillary to Obama. Well, I should say Hillary to Obama. If we're going to go back to the 2016 election cycle, from Hillary to Obama to the deep state coup against Trump in his 45th administration, if you look at all these crimes, the Russiagate stuff, these are the crimes. You can almost then say the next phase that is yet to be uncovered, which is something all of us want to know about, they're almost not even the crimes. These are the cover-ups. Mm-hmm. And the cover-ups include the manufacture and potential release. I don't even know. But the origins, we'll say the origins and the response to COVID-19, the 2020 stolen election, mm-hmm. the insurrection hoax, January 6, 2021, these are all things that you could almost call the cover-up after the crime of this seditious, mm-hmm. treasonous almost coup against the incoming administration. Now we've got to cover it all up. Mm-hmm. And I don't ever feel like there was a point where the Trump administration had really, like, I hate to say unburdened themselves from all the deep state bad actors. Mm-hmm. They dealt with it throughout the first administration. Mm-hmm. But sure enough, I mean, you come into it like, we can't have this guy sort stuff out in a second term. We have to end this now. Election. But then in order to get this fully pulled off, we need something that gives us some flexibility on the election this year. Wasn't that what, we fortified the election? We need some fortification and flexibility here. So you have a worldwide global health pandemic, and you start putting all these pieces together, and you realize, like, wait a minute, we got funding that goes to the Wuhan lab. We got all these biolabs in Ukraine, which we haven't even hardly scratched the surface of yet. But when you get into this world, you realize we've got all these bad actors, like the ideologues of this whole thing, the Clintons, the Obamas. I'll throw in the Bidens, George Soros. But they set their tasks through U.S. agencies, Department of State, CDC, agriculture. It gets allocated, the budget, to all of these contractors. It ends up with, big places in China and Ukraine that the funding goes to, that's been allocated through these sponsors. And then it comes back around to big corporations. And then those big corporations that secure profits donate to the ideologues again. And now we've got this running cycle of, you see what happens. We have to get Trump out. So we do something politically, but then this cycle that's going, now we have a second cycle of making sure we use the apparatus to crush anyone who would change the system. And then we have to make sure the system comes back to a place where our people are in power, but we need reasons and we need cover-ups, and we go through all of this. And I mean, it all, when you start to look at the big picture, you realize that all of these things are tied together. They're almost not even unique moments where we took advantage of something. You start to get the idea that each of these things was uniquely and specifically manufactured to serve a purpose, or to give them flexibility, give the deep state, these globalist elites. This is all done on purpose. And a lot of these plans are kind of long-ranging, and they fit together very nicely. Well, except Trump won again. And I don't think that was any mistake. I think that was just the reality that the left underestimated the will of the American people to actually wake up and vote. And also, I think that, the Trump folks were ready for it after the first time around. 2024, an army of election lawyers made sure to put the squash on a bunch of different things that we saw in 2020. We didn't see again in 2024. We saw attempts, but we didn't see the same level of it.
Right.
There was just the whole too big to rig. It kind of was. It was so big. It was very hard to rig. And also, plan after plan failed. The lawfare thing didn't work. They couldn't put him in jail. They couldn't kill him. I mean, all of these pieces, allowed or purposefully planned, were to change the game moving forward, and each big linchpin moment failed, so they failed in 2024 to rig another election. But a lot of the apparatus, we come in, okay, great, January 2025, that apparatus hasn't been destroyed yet. That was the job. Looking back at Trump's moves on the Epstein files and really pointing people almost more to the Russiagate, like, you want to understand this, we need to get here first. And then we unpack this and we move back into the big 80% of the Epstein stuff we haven't even talked about. All the pieces fit together. And thanks to DNI Tulsi Gabbard, they're all putting together. I still don't necessarily have any high level of trust in Pam Bondi. She was not one of my favorite picks going in, but I reserve the right to be wrong. I've been wrong about Marco Rubio. Either that, or maybe he's pulling the wool over our eyes and has just gone full America first because he wants to win future elections. Right. He's gone so far, though, I have a hard time believing. Typically, the swamp creatures are not that good at putting on an America first outfit and moving forward. They're just, you can tell they're not really here. Right. I don't get that sense from Rubio, but I reserve the right to be wrong. But Pam Bondi's not the main player here. The main player is Tulsi Gabbard, and that's just this is with the foreign stuff and with the deep state entanglement. I mean, there's plenty of it for RFK, but he's got his own world of worries. A lot of that is domestic policy stuff, though, whether it's health related or money related. Because it is. HHS oversees, I forget how many agencies. It's like 34. I think HHS oversees some like 2 or 3 dozen agencies. Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, USDA. This is a whole world of its own. But what Gabbard is doing is directly tied into this cycle of power that you can pinpoint to each of these big, moves, each of these big things. Global health pandemic, a stolen election, so-called insurrection. All these pieces fit together. And I feel like now there really is, like, not just reacting to whatever that day's news was on the internet, but pulling back and looking at the big picture. All of the pieces start to fit. And you say, okay, I've got some patience here. Let's see what they can do. Let's support what's going on, and let's see what continues to get pulled up, because every time something is released, massive implications.
Mm-hmm.
And as much as I want to know what happened with JFK and with RFK Sr. and MLK, I really like these document dumps. I haven't seen a whole lot of connection that necessarily matters to fixing where we are now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's historical evidence.
Right.
And it falls in line with, corruption and, big corruption, whether it's, from the FBI or from intelligence communities or even from the mafia and stuff like that, big mob families of the past.
Mm-hmm.
That's helpful, but it's just context for all of this information, which is really the fight we are in right now.
Right. Yeah, so I think the most important thing to do is just stop and think. You don't have to just say whatever pops into your head or because we're not there. Like, everybody's doing their own thing. We're not in government. We're not making these decisions. We're not doing these investigations ourselves. So that's something that really annoys me about the armchair political people, people like us, except they are like, oh, it's so easy. It's so easy. Why aren't they just doing this? Why aren't they just doing that? Like, if you could just do anything in the government, like, it would look a lot different. That's one of the big both benefits and drawbacks of our government, that it has checks and balances, that there are checks on everything, and that there are courts that are just going to slap things up whenever you try to do anything. So people say, just do this, just do that. If it's so easy, why aren't you doing it? If it's so easy to just fix the government, to fix all these big issues, why aren't you doing it? Oh, because it's hard to get elected. Yeah, it's hard to get elected. Maybe the fact that it's hard to do things once you're in government has something to do with the fact that it's hard to get elected and that it's hard to stay there once you're there. So I have little patience for this kind of stuff anymore. Like, politics is a very difficult game, and I think that Trump has been doing a fantastic job with his administration so far. There are things that I would have liked to seen have been done better, but Epstein was one of those, and it's still a developing story. So maybe in the end, it's going to actually look really good. It's starting to look pretty good right now with the fact that people are going to be testifying in front of Congress, important people that were a big part of this story. So, get with the program. This is the Trump era. We're building America's golden age. It's happening right now. We're undermining the deep state, and if you're against that, if you're constantly just criticizing Trump and complaining, get over yourself. This is what's going on, and we're winning.
I feel like we did actually have a pretty significant moment of turmoil inside the MAGA movement, the America First movement, in this first week of all the Epstein stuff, when the Trump folks seemed to not want to release things.
Yeah.
I mean, I looked at it and said, I don't know if they actually have all that much that they can release that we haven't seen. Like, we all know that stuff exists, but is it in their possession? Is it are they actually withholding, or do they want the same stuff that we want? They don't actually have it.
But there was some stuff that they were actually withholding, like the security cam footage from the jail, where
they're still withholding a couple of minutes of it. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. And but also, did they really think that nobody was going to figure out that it was doctored? No, they probably knew that people would figure out that it was doctored. People know how to check for that stuff. People know how to check the metadata of a video. So I don't think it's as simple as they tried to dupe us.
Right.
But I do know that they're holding stuff back. But maybe the simplest or most effective way to do things isn't to just release everything that they have right away.
Well, obviously, I mean, with the Gabbard files out of DNI, what they're dropping is a progression.
Mm-hmm.
We had a few days to digest all of the Obama stuff the first time, and then they dropped the second piece, which was tons of Clinton stuff. They've obviously got it all. I know there's processing time and figuring it out yourself, et cetera, and so on. But at the bottom line of this, I think you and I want the same thing. I want arrests. I want perp walks. I want accountability. But the reality is, I don't think that the majority of the American public is actually ready for that.
Yeah.
I hear people say that a lot, but I agree with that. I don't think people are ready to stomach that kind of stuff. So seems
clearly not, because when Trump was mugshotted, I mean, that's what...
Right, huge reaction.
Yeah.
Whoa, too far, guys. And I mean, I thought it was too far, but it's because the whole thing was corrupt.
Right, that's because he's our guy.
Right.
For them, it's not far enough.
Right. And that's the thing. I didn't see, I didn't look at the mugshot and everything else and think, oh my gosh, we can't do this with public officials. This is dangerous territory. I thought this whole thing is just a cooked up bunch of nothing. And yet we're, pushing and pushing and pushing and arresting him. It was garbage the whole time. But I mean, I'm all here for it. I'm ready for mugshots and arrests of other people. But honestly, I think there's a lot of folks out there, even people who voted for Trump, who just aren't there yet. I know a lot of people who would get very squeamish and peel away from that. I don't know. I mean, do you think that what they're doing is actually dumping documents and good enough, building the progression for everyone, but trying to give people pieces at a time so everyone has time to digest it, accept it, and then move to the next section? Do you think this is really what it's going to take to unravel the deep state, is give people the bite-sized pieces they can handle until they're ready for, like, okay, someone's got to go to jail.
Right.
It's time. Is that really necessary? Is that what they're doing?
Right. Well, I mean, I don't think it's even a matter of that, because looking at the press release from DNI, where one of the lines is, after months of investigation into this matter, the facts reveal this new assessment was based on information, blah, blah, blah. But after months of investigation into this matter, like, Gabbard was investigating this from the beginning of the administration, likely. She was probably finding the important details on this within a few weeks of the beginning of the administration. Do we want her to be like the rest of us on Twitter, where she just shoots off, the first thing she sees in the first analysis of it? No, that's not how we want our government to function. And I'm not saying that like transparency and accountability are bad, but you also want to get things right, and you want to build a strong case. And if you reveal your hand too early, you are giving your enemies an advantage. So by taking months to investigate this and then giving out the information in a way that gives a strategic advantage with dealing with our enemies and with prosecuting them and righting the wrongs that have been done, that leads to a better situation than, oh, we found this document, let's just throw it out there. Let's post it online. Oh, we found this document, let's post it online. Here we go, transparency. We're doing, like, that's, like, and I like transparency. I think the government should be transparent, especially with the amount of corruption that we've had. But it has to be done right, especially when you're going to go after high-profile officials and try to take down corrupt systems. You need to build the best weapon that you can to go against them. So that these things take a lot of time. They take months. Like, this is actually pretty fast when you think about it, to have
Very
something
fast.
like this out in only 6 months of the administration, when like it only would have started during those 6 months. I mean, she'd been in government. Maybe she had connections that had inklings of an idea of what went on here. But it's hard. It's hard to take down the deep state, and I genuinely don't think that we are going to like completely be free of all the corruption and all the bureaucracy by the end of Trump's administration. I just don't think that's a possibility, but I think that they are doing a fantastic job, and at a much faster pace than, like, I never would have expected something like this out of the Trump 2 administration.
This is more than I was expecting.
Way more than
it's not more than well, let me say this. It's not more than I expected was true. It's more than I expected we would ever get in 4 years.
Right.
Because this stuff has been going on for 30, 40, 50, 60 plus. Really. I mean, depends on which piece of the puzzle we're talking about.
Right.
But this has been going on for decades. To actually uncover it, because you think these folks haven't like cleaned up their tracks after them, and at least in large part, maybe not everything, but in large part.
Right.
Like, I mean, with some of these things, like they said, there's this big dump that was found, a bunch of stuff in burn bags at the FBI. I mean, who didn't burn that already? Did you people not? Well, there's so much. Yeah, they didn't get rid of everything.
Yeah, somebody's lazy. Oh, I'll do that next week. I mean, that's probably like our saving grace, that there are any documents to get to.
That's the terribly ineffective, bloated bureaucracy is the thing that makes this possible, both the crime and uncovering it. That is definitely, I would say, a piece of it.
And that's a nice thing about digital communication too, is that that it's permanent in a lot of cases. That even if something's deleted, you can still try to get back to some stuff. You can find stuff in backups. You can find stuff in old servers.
There's a way to find it.
Yep. Unless it's on Signal, which is why some people say that the CIA developed Signal, because they don't want to be seen using extra special CIA app. They want to, like, if they use an app that everybody else uses that's encrypted and secure, then, so stuff like that, we probably won't get a hold of it, but
unless you're the Atlantic, you can just get some screenshots.
Yeah, true. Well, I don't really have anything else to say about this.
No, that's it. I wanted to wrap, because that's the thing. We now have weeks of information on this that we've been able to kind of digest and put together and see the pieces that are moving.
Yep. I'm glad we're talking about Epstein now rather than 3 weeks ago.
I didn't know that much 3 weeks ago, but there were a lot of people, and that's the thing. There were a lot of people who just, immediately reacted to it. I even know some that were like, "Oh, come on, this looks this is untrustworthy. That you're trying to shove this to the side. What are you doing, Trump? I like you, but this doesn't look good." And I'm like, everyone, just stop looking at how it looks right now. Let's see what's next. Let's see what's next. This is what I voted for. This is what I voted for. Seeing what's next and putting all the pieces together, not just going off half-cocked at every possible option. I want to see the whole thing put together because it's a tangled web we haven't even gotten into yet. No one has. I'm still waiting. The Ukrainian biolabs and Hunter Biden's paintings. I'm waiting for all of this, and we haven't even gotten there yet. But that seems to be, as far as the progression goes, one of the next things that the Director of National Intelligence is going to be dropping out there. I'm excited to see where it goes. So, yeah, that's what I've got to say on that. Anything else big that we need to cover before we wrap up here? Don't be a panicking. The tariffs are doing their jobs. Yep. Jobs numbers haven't been hurt. In fact, what was the number? We gained 1.8 million jobs. This is through the June numbers. Native-born Americans have gained 1.8 million jobs. Foreign-born Americans have lost 1.3.
Beautiful. That's the exact opposite of what was going on in the Biden years.
And it's the exact opposite of what we were even told was possible. Oh, you can't boot all these people out or there won't be anyone to fill the jobs. Yeah, there are. Yeah. There's a bunch of Americans that want to fill the jobs.
Right.
And native-born Americans at that, the ones that Vivek told us were lazy and useless. Sorry, buddy. That turns out not to be true by the numbers.
Yep.
Yeah, that's we won't even go off into the tangent of all the domestic stuff that's been going on, but that's a whole separate world. The bottom line is on this is not just Epstein. And this is not just his plane and his island and his terrible sexual proclivities. This is everything. We are knocking on the door of how the system funds itself and maintains power. And each of these is a component of that. So we really there can't be resolution, and you almost can't have a full opinion about what each piece means and what Trump does or says or what the team is moving or saying on this one little piece when it's one of all of the pieces connected in to the same big master scheme, which, sometimes it's hard to remember that is in fact a reality. Big pieces, big players moving chess pieces around in a global way. Like that's how these people try to play the game. So it doesn't just happen with one documents dump and everything is out there. It's so much. And also it doesn't make sense without other pieces. And it's really not just about this one thing. It's about this also. Like that's the mode that we're in now. Watch and wait. Continue. Cheer. We got to cheer our team on when they're doing the right thing, even if we don't have everything we want yet. Cheer them on because they are moving in the right direction. I don't have any questions about what's going on. I just have encouragement. Keep doing it. And I really don't want to be a part of I don't want any of us to be a part of the drama in the base that doesn't just continue to give them clearance to move forward, because I see nothing across the board that gives me a pause for supporting what's happening, including anything Trump individually said about Epstein, which at this point is now long gone because of all the stuff that's come out since. Oh, you are working on this. You're just working on another piece of the puzzle. We stopped working on this ridiculous section of the same color pieces in this jigsaw puzzle, and we're over here now because I want the whole thing. So fine. Okay, fine. Move on from here. Get everyone else to move on too, because these other pieces need to be put together. It really seems to be that comprehensive, and that's what they're doing. That's the game they're playing. There you go. That's my thoughts. That's Mason's thoughts, and that is another caucus. We'll keep it under an hour here today, just for the sake of kind of getting back into it. Like I said, we got some fun guests that we're putting our finger on with some trying to get them down on a date so we can get some recordings done. But I'm excited to pull a few of these things out because we'll get into some deep state stuff, some big existential topics, all sorts of things are on the horizon, and we want you to be a part of it too. So thanks for being with us. Go to unauthorizedcaucus.com. That's where you can sign up to make sure you get email notifications when the videos, the podcasts go out. We'll have links and all sorts of stuff below. I don't know how we'll quite encapsulate this. I'll see if we'll put some of the big Tulsi Gabbard threads and a few things together so that you can go back and look at what we've looked at, because this is commentary stretching over 3 weeks. So it's not just one link to go to. But that'll all be there, unauthorizedcaucus.com. And, of course, go to phyllisschlafly.com. Great stuff always coming out from over there daily. Go to Wide Awake Clothing. The link is down below. Or trexinc.com with the promo code CAUCUS30 if you want to support what we're doing. And, again, of course, phyllisschlafly.com, the Phyllis Schlafly Eagles, where we sit every day. But that's largely it. Make sure you stay in touch. Let us know if there's some piece of this you want to go off into, give us a tangent. We'll dive into it and start researching. Let us know, and we'll put something together. But again, this is going to continue to be an outlet for us to unpack some of this stuff. So hopefully this was helpful. If you were sucked up in the daily stuff and forgot the big picture, maybe we could put that together. Or if you just ignored it because it looked like a nonsense mess, it was a hot mess. But here's the overview. This is what it all means. So hopefully that's helpful. But we'll do it again. Another day, another caucus. We'll do it sometime. I don't know when, but there you go.
Caucus time is over.
Thanks, folks.